Hello, friends. Ken Graves here with God's Sword. On this Friday, October 17th, the year 2025, we'll continue in the Gospel of Matthew. Matthew's Gospel, the 12th chapter. It's the fall. That house I've been building for the last year and a half. It's come a long way. One of the things I like most about it is this front porch. However, the front porch is not as far away from the road as I wish. Consequently, we'll pick up some traffic sounds. Well, it's that time of the day where this little backcountry road is busy with people coming home from work. It's a working community. Chapter 12 of Matthew, verse 1. At the time, Jesus went through the grain fields on the Sabbath, and his disciples became hungry and began to pick the heads of grain and eat. But when the Pharisees saw this, they said to him, "Look, your disciples do what is not lawful to do on the Sabbath." But he said to them, "Have you not read what David did when he became hungry, he and his companions? How he entered the house of God, and they ate the consecrated bread, which was not lawful for him to eat, nor for those with him, but for the priests alone. Or have you not read in the law that on the Sabbath the priests in the temple break the Sabbath and are innocent? And then I say to you, something greater than the temple is here. But if you're doing what this means, I desire compassion and not sacrifice, then you would not have condemned the innocent, for the Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath." The Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath. That was no doubt the most upsetting part. It was that final statement from the Lord to the Pharisees. They find fault. That's what they do. Now, technically speaking, men walking through a grain field, hungry, and in their hunger, just pulling off the heads, just merely walking along and pulling the heads off is about as much labor, technically, as reaching your hand into the bowl or actually making a sandwich. Now, God did not say you cannot make a sandwich on Sabbath. He just said rest. But over the centuries, they developed all these traditions and all these interpretations and precedents with regard to Shabbat, what can and cannot be done, what is work and what is not work. God did not define that because it's really that simple. But lawyers, they want to make the simple complex. So, you know that if you're merely making a sandwich, you're not working. It's not like you're a sandwich maker, this is now your profession. You're just putting some pieces of bread together. And the labor involved in men passing through a wheat field and pulling off those heads that are at hand height, and then rolling them in their palms in order to separate the grains, the kernels of wheat, and then blowing the chaff out, then it is approximately the same amount of labor as if you're sitting with a bowl of peanuts and you're shelling them, shucking, whatever. It's the legalist that wants to be able to pounce and say, that is work. Their traditions had determined that that was work. Even if it was work. And I observe that our Lord only cites the precedent of David having need, and his need, and his man, having need for food. And that need was greater than the command with regard to the showbread. I mean, as a general rule, God would make it plain that this bread is dedicated to the priest. It's holy. Shouldn't be eaten by anyone else. And even the priest, I think it was Abimelech, that asked David, are you guys clean? Are you at least consecrated? And David answered, yes, we are. The Lord made the point that David was not in violation of the law by eating what was dedicated according to the law to the priest. And likewise, the priest that labors in the temple, though it is the Sabbath, even if he's engaged in circumcision, you still do it. It has to be done. It's a job that whether the Sabbath has arrived or not, has to be done. There are things that have to be done. He would later, in another encounter, another confrontation with these men over the same thing, he would later point out to them, if your ox or your ass or donkey has fallen into a ditch, you don't wait until Sabbath is over to rescue this creature, but instead, you work. It's understandable. So again, the problem wasn't with the law. The problem was with their interpretation of the law. But ultimately, he pointed out to them, you don't even know what this means. I desire compassion and not a sacrifice. They're so quick to judge and condemn, so quick. They don't understand mercy as a concept. But his final words, the Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath. The Lord of the Sabbath. Well, that's going to be it for now. But let me just end with these words. It's a short study, this particular Friday. But I recognize I'm losing the light over the trees. The sun is setting. I'll continue. I got to reset. But the Lord identified himself as Son of Man. Favorite title of himself, even though he's the Son of God. What a statement of humility. And he identifies himself as Lord of the Sabbath, Lord of rest. They have no idea what he means by that. He is the one who brings us ultimate rest. He does the work for us, necessary for our salvation, and cries out from the cross, it is finished. And rest is ours because of all that he did. Grace and peace to you, my friends.